What happens after we die? This is one of the most perplexing questions that has baffled mankind since time immemorial. From the earliest civilizations, humans have grappled with the enigma of death, probing its mysteries and seeking answers in the stars, in nature, and within themselves. Different cultures and religions around the world offer a myriad of perspectives, painting intricate tapestries of beliefs and traditions surrounding death and the afterlife. Some see death as a final end, a cessation of existence, while others view it as a transition, a doorway to another realm of existence. Yet, amidst this vast sea of viewpoints, one perspective stands out for its depth and enduring influence. It has shaped civilizations, inspired art and literature, and continues to provide solace and hope to millions around the globe. This is the perspective provided by the Bible, a profound narrative that weaves a tale of death and life beyond it. Today, we delve into the Bible's perspective on death, journeying from Genesis to Revelation. We begin our exploration with the book of Genesis, where death first enters the world. Here we encounter Adam and Eve, the first humans living in perfect harmony within the Garden of Eden. Yet, despite the blissful life they enjoyed, disobedience led them down a path that changed the course of human existence forever. The Bible tells us that God warned them not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day they eat of it, they would surely die. Nonetheless, they chose to defy this command, and with their act of disobedience, death was introduced into the world. However, in biblical terms, death is not simply an end to life, but a profound separation from God. It's a spiritual state of being, a chasm that came into existence when Adam and Eve chose self-will over divine guidance. Thus, death, as per the Bible, is not an end but a transition from one form of existence to another. As we journey through the books of the Old Testament, we encounter more insights about death. One of the most profound concepts we come across is the idea of Sheol, often translated as the grave or the place of the dead. This is not a realm of punishment, but rather a shadowy, sombre place where the dead reside, regardless of their moral conduct in life. It's a realm of silence, cut off from the land of the living and from the presence of God. In the poetic and philosophical book of Job, we encounter a man wrestling with the mystery of death. Job, amidst his suffering, cries out for death, viewing it as a release from his pain. Yet even in his despair, Job clings to a sliver of hope, uttering the words, "I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God." Fast forward to the prophetic book of Daniel, and we find a more explicit reference to life beyond death. Daniel prophesies of a time when multitudes who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life, others to shame and everlasting contempt. This is one of the first glimpses in the Old Testament of a belief in resurrection, a hope that death is not the final word. Yet, even with this glimmer of hope, death in the Old Testament largely remains a mystery, a journey into the unknown. It's a poignant reminder of human mortality and the brevity of life. It underscores the need for wisdom, righteousness, and a humble walk with God. While these texts offer glimpses of hope beyond death, the full revelation awaits in the New Testament. In the New Testament, the enigma of what lies beyond death is more comprehensively revealed. Here we find a more distinct image of our destiny beyond the mortal coil, depicted through the teachings of Jesus and his extraordinary resurrection. Jesus, in his sagacity, frequently discussed the concept of everlasting life. He conveyed that death was not a terminus, but simply a gateway to a fresh existence. He assured his devotees that although their physical forms might fade away, their spirits would persist in a sanctuary filled with tranquility and happiness. This sanctuary he named heaven, an empire of flawless concord and divine affection. However, Jesus also cautioned about an alternate doom, a region of agony and desolation termed as hell. He emphasized the significance of virtuous living, love for God and our peers as the journey towards heaven, while a life of immorality and neglect for others would direct towards hell. The resurrection of Jesus, a fundamental principle of Christian faith, stands as a potent testament to life after death. Emerging from death 3 days post his crucifixion, Jesus showcased the authenticity of a life surpassing our earthly existence. His resurrection was not merely a wonder, but a commitment of a forthcoming resurrection, all those who have faith in him. The epistles of Paul further clarify this notion. He discusses a spiritual body that believers will acquire post-death, a body that is indestructible and glorified. He graphically narrates the moment of resurrection, where the dead will be raised incorruptible and we shall be transformed. In the concluding book of the Bible, Revelation, we encounter the zenith of these teachings in the prophecy of a renewed heaven and earth. It's a prophecy brimming with optimism and pledge, a prophecy of a world where death ceases to exist, where every tear is wiped clean, and where eternal joy is the destiny of those who have faithfully adhered to the path of righteousness. So, what does the Bible say about death? Let's revisit the key points we've discussed. We delved into the enigma of death, understanding it as an outcome of human transgression, a consequence of sin. We also explored the mortal journey, the inevitability of death, and its role as a transition rather than an end in itself. Our journey then led us to the revelation of life after death. We discovered the hope of resurrection, a belief that death is not an everlasting sleep, but a temporary rest before the dawn of a new life. Most importantly, we discussed the promise of eternal life for believers, a reward for those who live in faith and love. So, death according to the Bible isn't a cessation, it's a metamorphosis. It's a transformation from a temporal existence to an eternal one. Death in the Bible is not the final word. Instead, it is a doorway to a new life, a life that is shaped by our choices and our faith in this life.